Sup! It's podcast 35. The Overkill Podcast. Goofs, gaffs, gamers, ghouls, goblins, gooners, non-gooners. We're here. I'm Meta, and this is Kirby.
Yo.
Yes. An action-packed intro today. None of that weak intro, okay? I guess we got some pretty hot stories here. Some of them pretty dumb, some of them pretty epic. We have at the top of the hour, Power World finally sued, not for copyright infringement, but for patent infringement.
Oh, okay.
Which I don't really understand quite the difference for gaming. Like, I guess it's like the patent to have like virtual monsters fight or something. Like, okay. I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
But they're trying to find a way to sue them. I think what it is it has something to do with. So if it's copyright infringement, that's not quite as deep of a lawsuit claim. So what they're claiming patent infringement, meaning like they overstepped copyright by clearly copying Pokemon. But then not only did they copy Pokemon, they copied the battle systems, they copied like a bunch of stuff. And so it's like a deeper level of copyright.
Gotcha. Interesting. So like they're copyrighting them because of like gameplay mechanics, not just like the character designs?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes, sir.
That's kind of weird because I feel like you could say like would every RPG be like copyright infringement on like Final Fantasy or something like that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like once you like
start
like patenting mechanics, I think it gets a little dicey there because there can be a lot of games like in a genre that use those
dicey
ideas. Interesting.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, I don't know.
Is that it?
Just weird. Yeah, I mean, personally, I don't have any Pokemon games anymore. I sold them all because they're boring and they suck. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I've never been a big Pokemon fan either. But
I don't even know why I bought them.
Yeah,
they're just not my type of game.
No, not big RPG guys. But
no, especially not a slow one like that.
Oof.
Oof.
Well, yeah, speaking of our next story here, we got Overwatch 2 is finally bringing back 6v6 with some tests to decide Overwatch's future. So basically Jeff Kaplan came out and said that they're sort of internally they're looking at and running some tests that basically are seeing what they can do with 6v6, and they're trying to see if that, or if they can have 5v5 as well with 6v6. Like have like a separate playlist, I'm assuming, and sort of like a separate rank mode. But they're also seeing what they can do in terms of like the team structure. So maybe what this article suggests is they might have a format where it's like 3 DPS, 2 supports, 1 tank instead of 2 tanks, instead of 2-2-2, basically.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. I like 2-2-2. I thought it was fine in Overwatch 1. I think it was a decent solution to like having role queue as well as they also had the like open queue, which was nice, but yeah, we'll see. I think it's good that they're looking into 6v6. I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen them do this earlier, but they've also been kind of slow moving on with everything else, so it's kind of not surprising.
Right, yeah, it's not super shocking.
If they brought it back, I think I would try it again.
I would too. I think you and I had the same complaint that 5v5 is just not fun. There's no front line. The tanks aren't good enough to, create that like interaction in choke points and stuff. And now it's just like one tank, you all focus the tank, and then you break through. And if you look at the like pro play or like players that are really good, I mean, you see that's what happens every time. I mean, they just bully the tank, break through instantly in. Instead of before, it was like you bully one tank, they switch, or maybe you have one tank that's the front line and the other one's picking people off. They prolong it a little longer. I don't know. There's just not as much interaction and like friction points during the game. It just kind of is a FPS tedious. It's basically just team deathmatch. Is what. But
yeah, and that's the thing. It's like as a Roadhog player, it felt in Overwatch 1 you would always have like the second tank who would play like, I don't know, sometimes they would play Sigma or they would play like Reinhardt, and so you could kind of like bounce off of them a lot better now, or a lot better before. But now, if like I'm playing Roadhog, I'm basically a third DPS with a ton of health. That's basically the only thing that separates me from the other, the DPS characters, is I'm basically a bigger target and I have more health. And so I don't know, it felt awkward. I think the problem with now them switching to 6v6 is they've balanced the game around 5v5. And so they've tried to make tanks more self-sufficient and kind of more homogenized. And now if they go back on 6v6, they're going to have to rebalance it to the way that it was before. So I think that's kind of the only problem they're going to run into with reverting. But yeah, let's see how that plays out.
Yes. Yes, we will, buddy. I'm excited. I'll go back and play it if they do 6v6.
Based.
That's a fact. And we'll look back. Power of... here we go. So, Assassin's Creed, the new one, the samurai one, the Japanese themed one, with the black protagonist and the Japanese chick. Well, Ubisoft has been taking heat ever since it's come out, and we've covered it, I think, 2 times already. But the story has progressed a little farther. So... a lot of Japanese people have complained that some of the flags in the game are not historically accurate. Some of the buildings are not historically accurate. And allegedly, there was a small right-wing party in Japan that asked for a response from the Japanese government. There is a... Okay, this cat is going to drive me insane. There is a Sweet Baby Inc. employee named Hashimoto that has been covering this story and has investigated and responded for us, okay? To us from Ubisoft. So they have a Sweet Baby Inc. employee defending them. Yikes. You know how that's going to go. And this Sweet Baby Inc. employee has written articles about how Animal Crossing is racist for trivializing Japanese culture, how, how can you be the most gay in X and Y game or whatever. Just strange articles from this guy. But what he's written is he's come back and he said, well, a lot of the comments that Ubisoft has been getting has been from Westerners who are using Google Translate. But
right.
And that's on their trailer. That's on like the Japanese version of the trailer and on the English version of the trailer, right? They're claiming, they're trying to muddy the water and saying it's all Westerners complaining, no Japanese people. But, just because some of them are, essentially probably Americans, right? Likely Americans using Google Translate, doesn't mean all of them are, doing that. There's probably definitely some Japanese people that are not too happy. But yeah, the story evolves, and they've hired a not so great representative to try to dispel everything.
Yeah. I kind of followed the story a little bit. I thought it was a little too I only saw a video just yesterday, and it was a little too hard to follow, but he kind of summed it up pretty well.
Yeah, I had to do some researching for a bit.
Yeah, I think it was because the first video I saw kind of was kind of only told the tail end of what was going on and didn't explain what happened before.
Right.
So I was a little confused. I was like, who is this guy?
Who this?
But yeah, I mean, are we surprised? I've also seen another video that I thought was kind of interesting. It was sort of the downfall of Ubisoft, and it kind of went through how basically every AC game is kind of the same, and how they all kind of got samey, and the budgets just got bigger and bigger, and the games have just kind of stayed the same for the most part.
Oh yeah.
And really, I mean, the only thing Ubisoft really has right now is Rainbow Six and maybe X Defiant. And even then, X Defiant, people thought it was going to be shut down, but it turns out they came out with a statement. They're at least going to go through Season 3, which is in February. So that's...
Oh.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, the main reason that X Defiant's struggling is because it came out and it had a bunch of players, right? But it's also a free-to-play game. It only had 10 million... It only had 10 million players, which for a free-to-play game is not that great. And then as the months have gone on, I think now it only has 10K or 20K players across everything. So if that's every console, PC, everything combined, which is pretty rough. So people thought it might get shut down, but yeah.
Ugh.
Ubisoft.
I mean, all these companies, they keep trying to do this thing. They keep trying to, make people. They make people shovel. They make people suck it up and be like, yeah, well, your culture doesn't matter. This doesn't matter, and then they tell you they gaslight you into thinking that you're going crazy or something, and you're like, well, that's not Japanese or whatever, and they're like, how dare you? And you're like, what? I'm not even Japanese. I know it's not Japanese. So,
Based.
I don't know. These companies, they're really paying for it, and it's just odd that they keep pushing this wet route, even if you don't feel that strongly. I think even if you're not, down with Ubisoft, I think even most people now, at least most normal people that aren't on Twitter all day, are a little off. Little off. Yeah, I don't know. Just odd stuff coming out of these companies. I'm glad they're getting some pushback for it, though. I'll tell you that.
Well, yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think ultimately what we'll see is games games made without all the without all the politics and without all this stuff, like Nintendo games and stuff like that. I think they'll begin. I mean, they've always been prospering, but I think we'll see people switch more towards that. That side of things being like apolitical, or maybe even switching to being right wing. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe see if that pendulum swings, but.
Yeah, it probably will. I think too. I mean, games can be political, right? Like if it's a Call of Duty game and the whole thing is like war or like a political party that's taken right, sure, right. But the issue is like the issue isn't politics. The issue is like leaning and like making someone clearly a bad guy and clearly a good guy with no like gray area or anything, and just like why is this character this way? We just felt like it because you should accept it and suck it up. Okay. I just won't buy the game.
I think my favorite example of something being like kind of semi-political, but not too much, was was Battlefield 4. Whenever they made like China the bad guy, and then the game when the Chinese government banned the game from coming to China, I was like, that's pretty bad.
Not too bright.
But nowadays, I'm sure DICE is like, oh no, we got to run it by the government.
Yeah.
My team versus your team, dude.
Yeah, dude. You fucking goober.
Pretty base.
Oh, jeez. I just can't anymore, dude.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Speaking of woke,
oh no,
we got Concord. I just found this out yesterday, but allegedly Concord lost Sony $400 million.
Oh yeah,
and it was meant to be Sony's Star Wars. So Sony thought that this would be the game that would start selling PS5 Pros and would take off, and I think they might have seen the writing on the wall, and they increased the PlayStation, the Pro's price to kind of offset this. But
I'm just laughing because that's so funny. I'm saying it's just hilarious that they ever think that this would be as big as Star Wars ever was.
Yeah. So.
Oh fuck me, that's funny. Okay.
Yeah, so this comes from basically an insider who worked on the game, and he said it allegedly cost $400 million to make, with $200 million of that amounting to development costs before PlayStation bought it. So that means, at the very least, this game cost almost 600 million, and it only made $1 million. So Sony lost. Whatever, $30 or $3,099,000. It's pretty rough.
$99 million.
Yep.
Man, don't you think you just take it out back and just put it out of its misery? I mean, whoa.
Yeah, they said that the game allegedly suffered during most of its development through what they call like toxic positivity, where like basically you couldn't say anything negative like about the game, or else you were like basically considered a heretic and you were kicked out.
Oh, that's nice. That's cool.
Yeah.
Have you? Well, I don't know if I want to do this. This might get me in trouble. Have you seen the art designers for the characters?
No. I mean, I can imagine it in my head, but...
Oh, dude, they look exactly what you think they look like. They look just like the characters they designed.
Oh, no. They had their self-inserts.
Oh, yeah, you could say that.
Base.
I don't know if I want to be a self-insert in this game.
Yeah, I haven't looked into that, but I mean, you can just kind of, you can just kind of infer that from the game, but I don't know. How do you feel about the toxic positivity? I can definitely like understand that. If you ever worked like a job, you can kind of you get that where like you basically can't criticize whatever you're doing.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, it. They didn't. I don't even think they play tested the game. It doesn't even look fun. Like it doesn't even look. Like sure they're gonna redesign the characters, but the biggest issue is like I don't know how much of this you've watched, but it doesn't look fun.
Yeah, I've only seen a little bit of gameplay. For me, well, what I've heard also is, whenever Sony bought it, it wasn't even really in pre-alpha, and then 18 months before launch, it was in like an alpha state. So that kind of shows you the development where like, even I'm assuming the beta was probably like 6 months before the game came out, and then like launch was. I mean, to me, if I look at the game now, it still looks really rough. It kind of reminds me of like how the first Destiny was, where it looks polished, but I don't know. It just seems like something's off about the whole game. But
it looks really
never got to try it.
Stuff.
Yeah, I mean, never got to try it before it shut down. But I thought this one guy had an interesting video. He actually liked the game, which I'm surprised that someone actually liked it. And there were a couple Concord fans in the comments coping. And I was like, I was kind of nice to them. I was like, well, I can't criticize the gameplay because I never played it, but it's also like you can't expect people to buy a slop game if like it looks bad and the writing's on the wall,
Mm-hmm.
You can't expect people to buy it, so.
No, you cannot. And I mean, look, I'm sorry you designed a trash can. And I don't know if you've seen the trash cans gameplay, but literally you shoot someone, and then if they try to run away, you just throw a smaller trash can at them, and it blows up and kills them.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the most innovative idea I see here is you basically, like, if you pick a character and then you die as that character, you get like a passive ability, and then if you switch off to another character, you can get a different one. And so like they reward you for kind of switching and playing different characters, which I think is cool. If it was implemented in a better game, it would be, in like a game like Overwatch. I think that would be pretty cool. But the problem is this game you have what seems to be a generic shooter, but then it also costs $40, and as well as they're obviously going to monetize it later. So in my opinion, what I think I would have done is you come out and you be a free-to-play game, and you sell the skins for the characters, but...
Right. Yeah, I know. I mean, no one cares about the characters. How are you going to sell skins for them?
That's true, yeah.
Unless their goal was to make the characters so fucking ugly that you had to buy a skin to make them even playable. I think if the game played well, though, I think people would not forgive the art, but it would at least probably be able to stay up while they change the characters, right?
Yeah. Well, yes, they're supposedly going to soft launch it. I don't know how that's going to go. I think the best route forward would be to make it free to play, but
yeah, I mean, I would never pay for this game. Yeah. I would never. But yeah.
It's very generic.
Anyways. New Zelda game. I was at a GameStop selling the old Xbox that I didn't want anymore because I am an emulator now. I'm an emulator, a stealer, a copyright infringer. Okay. I I got details from the 70-year-old man that was there to pre-order the entire new Zelda game. He bought it, and he was going to come pick it up next week or whatever. New Zelda game, Echoes of Wisdom. This is the sequel to... What's the claymation one? To Link's Awakening. This is the sequel to Link's Awakening. This is also the first Zelda game where you actually play as Zelda the whole time. Yeah. So you have, Zelda's obviously a little bit of a magic wielder, a little bit of a gamer, some would say. But yeah, it's basically Link's Awakening with spells, and yeah, you get to play as cute little chibi Zelda and her little friends, and yeah, like she has a little bird that flies her around. It's so cute. It's so cute.
Oh, base.
I'm excited. I really liked Link's Awakening. I did not beat it because even though it was remastered, it's not one of those games that's like super intuitive. Like you kind of have to be guessing like, what to do next sometimes.
Yeah.
What did you...
Which one of those games? Yeah, I've never played any of like the top-down ones. Well, maybe I played a little bit of like the original SNES one on the NES Mini.
SNESy.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, yeah, it is one of those kind of games where, and I think a lot of the Zelda games are like that, where you kind of just have to guess what you're supposed to do. And sometimes you need like a guide.
A lot of the older ones, especially.
It's not my favorite thing to have to like pull out a guide to, But
yeah, not really. Because the worst part about pulling out a guide is you don't feel like you're actually solving anything. It's kind of like cheating on like a puzzle. You're like, why did I do that? I should have just bashed my head against the wall for an hour.
Yeah, the only Zelda game that I've ever enjoyed is Wind Waker. And that's because I think it was like the puzzles were very simple. The only part I got stuck on was like a part where it was like a random vine. I can't remember what you had to do. You had to use like some special thing on it, like an item that you got like 3 dungeons ago, and I just didn't. I was like thinking, and I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, now it makes sense."
Brain off.
Yeah. That's about the only time I ever got stuck. But yeah.
Yeah. I know. Like in Donkey Kong 64 as a kid, that was like back in the days where you actually had to go buy like a magazine guide. My mom had went and bought one for herself, and I played through the game like 2 years later when I was like old enough to understand it better. And man, that guide saved my life, dude. Those old games didn't give you shit. They just were like, figure it out, bitch, and they sent you out into the world to understand how to play the game. It was a lot of fun though. A lot of fun. I liked it. It just, it always sucked to have to use the guide. Because it felt like you weren't doing anything.
Yeah.
It made you feel a little stupid. Especially, I think there's something especially brutal about having to flip through magazine pages to find out what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, because then you're like searching for the section and you like can't find it, and you're like, you're
like, why am I so stupid?
There's a more efficient way to do this.
I'm so stupid.
Yeah. Well, last thing I wanted to yeah. Last thing I wanted to talk about is kind of interesting. New Yakuza game. I think this is DLC for Yakuza Like a Dragon. It's called Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. And it's so funny because the trailer starts off, the guy's talking, then he wakes up on the beach and he's like, I forgot my memories, but now I own my very own pirate ship, and I'm going to have many adventures. And it's so funny. It just, to me, it gave me like a real like anime One Piece style vibe. But
Yeah, I'm watching it right now.
it's so funny. I don't know. I thought it was
this trailer's in
interesting.
Spanish is really, or sorry, it's French. Why is it on French?
Wait, what? I thought it was in Japanese.
Yeah, it is, but the subtitles were in French. There you go.
Oh, okay.
It
I
is
was
in
like, what?
Japanese.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
No,
I
this
thought it was
is-
so funny.
This is definitely some fucking One Piece vibes.
My favorite is they like go into like this one. It looks like a bay, and it's like this casino vibe, but then it has like a Titanic thing, like a Titanic ship just sticking out of it, and it's like in a ruined city. It looks so weird. I don't know what it's supposed to be, but I'm assuming it's one of the like locations you can explore.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't know. I thought it was kind of interesting game.
Yeah, that's the word.
I'm not a big One Piece guy, you know. But my guy Meta is.
I am. Don't forget, my channel's in the description. I'm going to be posting a fat One Piece video once I pass my engineering exam. There's going to be a fat One Piece video, real long. Yep.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't know. We'll have to see, because this DLC comes out in February next year. So I don't know. With Call of Duty coming out and all the other games, I think we'll have a lot to do before we get to this one, boys.
certainly. Well, another pod in the
Yep.
books. Another pod in the books. Thank you all for joining.
Thank you.
Yeah, and thank y'all for watching. I know we've been doing them a little shorter, and that's really seemed to help with just views and clickability and retention, just because they're not super long, and I don't think we can yap for that long. It'd be very interesting. So
No, we're not big yappers, you know.
no,
But-
no yappers at all. Unless it comes to COD, then we'll yap for 3 hours straight. So
Based.
I think that's everything.
Yep. Hope you guys
All right.
enjoyed the pod. It's been your boys. Peace.